What is up, bros? Me, Josh here. In today's video, I'm going to go over an insanely good game I had in the USS Flint. Now, the Flint is one of the few reward ships you get from playing ranked season. This is the one you get from getting 3 rank 1 seasons, not in a row, just total. If you get 1 season, you get the Jolly Roger flag. 2, you get a second Jolly Roger flag. 3, you get 3rd, and then you get the Flint. 4th, and then the 5th you get the actual USS Black as well. So this is one of the reward ships. So it's basically, if you've ever played in Atlanta or ever seen in Atlanta, it's very, very similar. Almost the same ship, play style wise, I guess. A high arcing ship, fast reload. The things you're trading off though is I actually really enjoy this this paint job on it, but you're actually it's pure white paint, but you're trading radar on the Atlanta, but you're getting smoke instead. And it's actually a very, very good smoke. It lasts a long time. You can spread it out in decent ways, and also you're trading. You're getting basically longer range torps. I believe they're Benson torps, so they're 9.2 kilometers, do a decent amount of damage, and it's a nice little extra weapon to have. So the thing about the Flint is it up tiers better. It's known as a super quote-unquote overpowered ship. It has an insanely long smoke, and it has the ability of just kind of sitting there smoking a team. And if you're running certain perks, certain captain's perks, there's kind of a really small, you get 4 smokes, and there's a really low downtime when it comes to this ship on in between smokes. It's like, I think it's like 20 some seconds. So if you're running with a destroyer or something like that, you can potentially be in smoke the entire game. And if you're running an inertia fuse on this kind of ship, it's very good. Downside is it is a smoke ship, so you have to be careful with how many ships have radars, like a potential Edinburgh, New Orleans, Belfast. So you have to be kind of a little careful of that. But all in all, this ship is insanely strong. I don't play it a lot. I tend to not do, I don't know, I tend to not have insanely good games with it, so this is actually a pretty rare game for me. I just don't play it that much. I think I got it in the 3rd, well, technically the 3rd season, so I got it after 3 seasons of getting rank 1. And I think I maybe have 30-40 games, and you can see Belfast versus Flint. So technically the Belfast should win that fight. He might have been newer to the ship and pretty much didn't really counter my play. He may have popped his smoke at the wrong time, and but no, I mean, your smoke lasts an insane long time. You can spread a decent amount around, like you can get 3, 4, 5 ships, especially if you're rolling the smoke. So for my build right now, it's pretty basic. I'm rolling situational, rolling the one that lets me know how many ships are focusing on me. I believe I'm rolling Adrenaline Rush on this. I think for my 2-point captain, Superintendent or Demo Expert, I think, are the ones that I have. And then I have picked up AFT, and I picked up Inertia Fuse, so IHF. IFAG, so it's really strong. You can throw insane salvos down on these ships and do a massive amount of damage, like 4 or 5k salvos easy from distance, and on top of that, doing fires. So this is a really good ship, and on top of that, you're like basically an AA platform. So if there were CVs in this, you of course have the 7.2 kilometer range on your AA. Oh, man, I was really close to getting taken down, and you can basically just be a no-fly zone. So the Belfast is within radar range. So that's one thing I was really worried about, because since you are such a fragile ship, you could just get absolutely blopped in one radar. So you gotta be really careful what your surrounding is, and be aware of what destroyers were. Now, I knew I was basically okay because they had the Minsk, which only has like 4.5 kilometer, 4 kilometer torps. They're very short torps, and the other DD was on the other side. So I knew I was safe from torps, and I figured I had this Edinburgh, which is a smoke ship. I figured that he and I could just alternate smokes. I imagine that's what he was setting up for. So I was thinking, okay, perfect. I didn't realize that his smoke is what he just laid down right there. So it all makes sense now that I'm kind of looking back at the replay. But there's obviously some miscommunication when it comes to me and this other dude. But he doesn't end up saying anything in chat. But this is where the ship can basically just be insane. And that's when you get these battleships that are within range. Now, this ship doesn't have an insanely long range. But what it does have range-wise is, as you can see right there, I popped smoke, so I thought I was giving us the smoke as well. So that there's a little confusion here. I got kind of scared and confused. But 10 kilometers away, it's pretty nutty. It's pretty nutty. Yeah, see, I'm looking back at this now, and it doesn't make any sense. Apparently he didn't smoke, or he did at the perfectly wrong time. So I was getting really confused right here. I was saying for this guy to smoke, and he didn't end up seeing anything. So it's kind of interesting. So one thing you have to be really careful though is other cruisers that are pushing in 203s, like 203s broadside. Now I always kind of joke like Atlantas and Flints are very hard to citadel because they have such little armor that they tend to just overpen to death. So 203s are really dangerous when it comes to other ships. So especially the broadside, because they'll like the perfect amount of pen, I guess. And so this is kind of the scary part of this game. I thought Rail's basically gonna get grouped on because their entire team was on this side. I was in range. He didn't drop smoke, but I mean, still nobody really focused me, which I was very fortunate of. Although they have some other ships that are pushing with sonar, so I was also worried about that. But we're able to just kind of farm and just keep stacking up that damage. I'm back in my smoke though, which is really good, so nothing can really focus me. But I mean, just like that, with like a 4-second reload, I'm dropping 4 5k salvos on this guy and potential fires. This is when the Edinburgh and I'm trying to get in position to take this guy out, and this Edinburgh just didn't end up. This is a perfect example of communicate with your team. I didn't know where he was going. He didn't know what I was doing. And I thought he didn't have smoke, and this guy's pushing, so I'm trying to get in a right spot before I get torped so I can get my back turrets out and citadel the heck out of this guy. He didn't need to actually push out. I was just trying to get around him, basically, because in 3-4 salvos like this with AP loaded, I can chunk him down pretty freaking quick. So that Edinburgh basically YOLO'd for no reason, and we end up putting a little friendly damage into him. So I don't really know why he did this. I could have basically chunked him down and kind of just killed him off, but hey, he did that. Whatever, it's his call. So he pushed out, didn't really need to, and able to kind of just stay in my smoke and not really worry about it. So one thing I had to be kind of worried about was when my smoke ended, and where kind of everything was, because once this cyclone hits, it's going to be a little tricky, because I'm going to be spotted no matter what, and all these battleships are going to be able to just absolutely dunk on me. So we're going to thank this Bismarck right now for what he's about to do in a little bit with those torps. We're going to just sit here and kind of farm him for a while. Now he plays it perfectly for the first part of this little bit, and already we're up to like 70k, 75k. So, and I think we're burning a couple fires. So what we want to do is really, there's our first kill to at 75k on the Colorado. What you want to do in this situation is you want to get the repair on cooldown for these battleships, and that's what you can do with a lot of other ships. And if you're playing like an HE ship with torps, see, I thought I completely screwed up. I thought, I was like, man, all right, he got him with sonar, he completely juked these, so I was just gonna focus on him, get a fire, and then just kind of work on the next guy, try to get a fire on each one. That's what I always try to do. I try to get a fire on each one of the guys, and then see if they get the repair, and then kind of focus it. But this Bismarck decides to just be the best little Bismarck that I've ever gone against, and just decides to eat every single one of my torps. 4 for 4, a nice little, what, extra 50k damage. That ain't bad. I'm not gonna complain. He's gonna flood out. So thank you, Mr. Bismarck, on that one. I appreciate you so much. And Sniper Chang, we will take that kill from you, and we will gladly take that damage. I thought he was good, and he was just gonna dodge those torps, and then he said, you know what, I got you, I'm gonna give you this little extra damage. Cyclone's about to hit, there's too many battleships, he's just gonna kind of help me out. So now I was in a really weird spot. Shots are coming in from this guy. I decided to use my smoke, and hopefully he just didn't absolutely wreck me. And luckily, Dispersion kind of helped me out, and RNG kind of helped me out, that he hit a gun, didn't even destroy it, and basically just did no damage to me. So the thing about these ships is that you tend to lose guns not super often, but it happens more just because it has a lot. The Flint, however, doesn't have. The Atlanta actually has one more wing gun than the Flint does, so it has one more gun on the extra side. And you just tend to lose, since these ships have so many guns. You just kind of tend to lose guns every once in a while, just because there's so many. So I was actually really lucky. Took battleship shells. They must have rolled low or something like that, because they didn't do any damage to me. And honestly, this is probably the best side and the best direction to go with this ship. The arc is insane, so you can kind of use this little peninsula here to kind of protect you. And this is probably the best part about this map for this kind of ship. you're just kind of able to do a ton of damage and protect yourself. So as you can see, I kind of like hugged this area right here, and it's really, really strong. Same with the other side, actually. You can sit in this little area, smoke, and then kind of get really, really good angles. I like this side a little bit better than the south side, but really, this is a really, really good map for this ship. This side is much better than that side, actually. So, but yeah, that's kind of where you can kind of post up. Same with what I would do with the Belfast. I would kind of do it almost with any kind of smoke ship, honestly, right there. It's really, really strong. And I could have easily gotten greedy here and put torps, but that Amagi's pushing, he doesn't have that much life, so I imagined he would kind of get dunked on anyway. And so I didn't want to put torps on and potentially hit that Amagi. I didn't know how far he'd. So also, communicating with your team and then being aware of where people are. So just don't lackadaisically throw torps around, because you know they're gonna get pretty in. So there we go. We are already at 3 kills. So we got the hat trick this game. Over 170k damage thanks to that Bismarck. Really, basically a full life Bismarck we got to take out for free almost, which we should have had 0 damage on. But pretty nasty game with this ship. The thing about the Flint is it can up tier very, very well because its smoke is so good. The Atlanta really has, since as you go higher and higher in the tiers, the maps get bigger and bigger and bigger, so that means these ships with a short range get weaker and weaker and weaker, especially with how fragile they are and a relatively small health pool, only 26,000. So with this ship, since you have the smoke, you can extend a little bit farther, you can go a little bit harder, and it's actually really, really a decent ship up tier. I mean, we were mid tier on this. It was a 6, 7, 8 game, so I mean it's gonna excel pretty well in that situation. But yeah, this ship is pretty freaking strong. If you guys have the ability to get it, and of course I'm going to smoke up here and kind of just use and abuse it. Now, I do run into shift use on this ship, so I'm going to be able to do insane HE damage, but don't be afraid of AP. Now, I'm always greedy and kind of go for fires and whatnot, but don't be afraid of AP. You can absolutely drop obliterating salvos on these guys. Now, they're probably right around where my HE damage would have been. But I mean, 4k salvo, that's pretty nutty. 188k. I think, oh, it was really close to being my highest damage Flint game. I think it was really, really close to one of my highest damage Flint. So this thing is an absolute beast. If played right, if matchmaking treats you well, and if your team, the enemy team, has enough battleships. But overall, an insane game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys, if you have the ability to get the Flint, I know a couple people who are really, really close to getting it. Maybe this season, last season, they got it, or this coming season they can get it. It's really, really a fun ship. If you have the ability to get it, playing enough ranked, go for it. It's definitely worth it. Enjoy it as fun as it is, and if you haven't ever thought about playing ranked, it's definitely a reason to get into it and really push and get to that rank 1. So hope you guys enjoyed this video. More to come, guys. Remember to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.